I got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante. Okay, we can start now, Bhante.
Yes, please.
Good evening, Bhante and all Kalyana Mita, Namo Buddhaya and Sukhi Hontu. I'm Aliana and welcome to Ti-Ratana Vihara Friday Sutta discussion by Bhante Dr. Gangodawila Chandima. Please be informed that Ti-Ratana Vihara is going to conduct a one-day non-stay retreat by Bhante Dr. Gangodawila Chandima with name Mudita Retreat on Saturday, 25th of April 2026 from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Kuala Lumpur time. For further information and registration regarding to the Mudita retreat, please check on Ti-Ratana Vihara Facebook account or WhatsApp groups. Everyone is welcome to join in and hope to see you at the retreat. Today is the day of 164 of this series of Sutta discussion, the 16th class of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta with topic Final Review. This Sutta discussion series is sponsored by Ti-Ratana Vihara Aman Perdana, and Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta is the 15th Sutta that have been chosen by Bhante Chandima for this Sutta discussion series. In previous classes, Bhante has discussed about Mangala Sutta, Ratana Sutta, Metta Sutta, Sigalowada Sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Sabbasawa Sutta, Patakama Sutta, Patama Samajivi Sutta, Alawaka Sutta, Dajaga Sutta, Girimananda Sutta, Chulakama Vibhanga Sutta, and Chunda Sutta and Diga Janu Sutta, which Bhante has elaborated those sutta in depth. For those who have missed our previous classes, please check on Ti-Ratana Vihara Aman Perdana YouTube channel. We have uploaded the previous classes there. We are always welcoming newcomers, therefore please share around about this class to other friends and family members so that whoever that wish to join the class via Zoom, where we can engage directly with Bhante, can contact the Vihara administrator, or you can join the class from Ti-Ratana Vihara Facebook channel, where we broadcast the Sutta class live on every Friday evening from 8:30 till 10 p.m. Kuala Lumpur time. Now let me introduce to you about our speaker, Bhante Dr. Gangodawila Chandima, who was a professor of Buddhist philosophy in the Department of Philosophy at Ateneo de Manila University, Philippines. His recent peer-reviewed article, Socrates and Early Buddhist Medical Ethics, Foundation of Moral Reasoning in the Care of Body and Mind, 2005, was published in Buddhi, a journal of ideas and culture of Ateneo de Manila University. Bhante also presented his latest research at the annual meeting of American Academy of Religion, or AAR, in Boston, USA, in a paper titled Custodian Without Ordination, the Ganinanse Tradition and Monastic Succession in 17th Century Sri Lanka. Bhante is also the senior advisor to Patisotta, a virtual Dhamma organization that hosts a weekly online Pali reading class, Sutta discussion, Dhamma talks, and a variety of other Dhamma activities. His Dhamma works can be accessed at www.patisotta.blogspot.com, and we also can follow Bhante at Patisotta Facebook account. Without further ado, we welcome once again Bhante, and as always, thank you very much for the wonderful guidance and teaching. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Aliana, for the introduction. Good evening, Dhamma friends. Welcome back to Ti-Ratana Sutta discussion, day 164. Let us pay respect to the Buddha first, and then we will get started. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Thank you, Aliana, because we have been seeing all the videos that have been uploaded by you and your son, Aaron. So if anybody misses out on any section of any sutta study, you may be able to go to Ti-Ratana Vihara YouTube channel. I think hopefully you can share the playlist of the videos, sutta study videos, right? So I mean, if they have been added into a certain playlist, so it will be easier to follow up. So thank you for that. All right, so today we are going to do a review, a full review of the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. But before we get into the sutta's review, we still have to take a look at the end of the sutta. Let's take a look at the end of the sutta a little bit and then come back to the questions. Okay, let's see. Ayanupassana. Then Vedananupassana. Chittanupassana. Dhammanupassana. Okay, let's take a look at this part. Anyone who develops these 4 kinds of Satipaṭṭhāna in this way for 7 years can expect 1 or 2 results. Ditteva dhamme anya, nibbana in this very life, sativa upadisesa anagamita. Or if there is something left over, that person will become an anagami. Very interesting expectations. Huh? And then later on 7 years, anyone who develop the Satipaṭṭhāna in this way for 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, 7 months, 6 months. Shouldn't be a bidding, huh? 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, a fortnight, let alone a fortnight. Anyone who develops Satipaṭṭhāna in this way for 7 days at the very least can expect 1 of the 2 same results. Nibbana, or if not, Anagami. And then the same phrase recurs again. This phrase appeared at the beginning. Ekayana vayam bhikkhave maggo sattanang visuddhiya soka paridevanang samtikkamaya, so and so forth. Satipaṭṭhānas support you to Nibbana. Iti yang tang buttang ida metam paticca buttanti. That is what I said, and this is why I said it. Idama voca bhagava attamana te bhikkhu bhagavato bhasitang abhinandunti. So the Sangha members, they were happy. Satipaṭṭhāna Suttang Nittitang. That's the end of the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. All right, so we formally ended Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta's study at this point, but now we are going to take a look at the questions. Okay. Can everyone see the PowerPoint here? You can see, right? Okay. So thanks to Aaron for making this very beautifully. Large font, and it's pretty easy to understand all these questions. All right, question number 1. Let's take a look. How should one distinguish between bare mindfulness, sati, and thinking about the object / subject while practicing Satipaṭṭhāna? Okay. First of all, I would like to know what is bare mindfulness. How did you come to that understanding? Is there a bare mindfulness here in this sutta? Is it? Or mindfulness is always right mindfulness? Huh? Sutta doesn't mention about a bare mindfulness. Mindfulness has to be right mindfulness. So this is a way how someone explains in English about this subject. Huh? So when you learn it that way, you will get stuck. So, but you are pointing something very interesting in the second part. Subject, object, site. Okay, let's take a look. This side is very interesting. Distinguishing between bare mind, forget about that part due to an issue, and thinking about the object, subject while practicing Satipaṭṭhāna. So I take it this way. Sometimes we are thinking about the particular activity. I mean, whereabouts, details, right? Subject, object, explanations, or maybe our own definitions. But the issue is that the right mindfulness, right? So right mindfulness means that you have the awareness without judging it, without interpreting that particular object. You will explain, you will define it later on. But in the first place, if you are trying to go to the details, that means you are not able to see it as it is. So I would say all the Satipaṭṭhāna practices are opportunities for us to become aware about what we are doing in different aspects. And the point that right mindfulness will become plague, will become distorted, is the moment where we recognize the particular experience with a certain judgment, certain definition, certain interpretation in the first place. Now, say for instance, I see two flower vases. I see one particular flower vase. I have seen so many flower vases. So what if I try to see the flower vase I'm seeing now with certain previous thoughts about flower vase, and I want to judge it, to recognize it. So then I might not be able to see that particular flower vase, right? That is a definition. I mean, rather than being able to understand as it is. Let's say I have been going through a lot of problems with other people. I mean, compared to good and bad people. So every time I see someone in the similar form, what if I'm going to create suspicions about the new person? Perhaps that person is a good person, right? So basically, we cannot find a word called bare mindfulness here. The mindfulness is right mindfulness. We want to get to that right mindfulness, right? Once we get to the right mindfulness, we are right mindful. So there's no bare mindfulness, right? But if you say it as a neutral point, you are saying that I know something about it, but I don't know whether it is the right mindfulness. Then we can understand that there is something forgotten in that experience. But in the Pali context, right mindfulness. When you are grabbing all these opportunities through body, feelings, thoughts, and mental phenomena, those are opportunities in our daily life, then we are rightly mindful about it, right? So that is how we have to look at it. Anyone who asked this question, who has any more other questions? Feel free to ask it. Okay. If you have, you save the questions. Best. Second question is about how do the four foundations support each other in actual practice rather than being practiced separately. Now, the first thing that we need to understand is that in order to practice them in a better way, to come to a certain level, we have to practice them separately, right? Because we don't know them exactly. It's like this Noble Eightfold Path. Yes, we are supposed to practice them simultaneously at a certain point. But at the beginning, We need to master it. So I think there's no harm to practice them, master them separately at the beginning. And when you are more comfortable, then you practice them simultaneously. But how to practice them simultaneously? Should I first do Kaya and then Vedana? No. You cannot separate out this way. Because whenever you have opportunities with regard to the body, you practice Kayanupassana. Whenever you have opportunities with regard to the feelings, then Vedananupassana. Whenever you have opportunities to practice Chitta and Chitta, then Dhamma Dhamma. Actually, they all are happening. They all are happening in rotation, right? Think about today morning. If you went through certain neutral feeling, then that was the moment that you can practice. You could have practiced Vedananupassana. At the same time, you had thoughts about the particular situation, the Chittanupassana. And at the same time, you want to do a follow-up with regard to how you manage your Panchanivarana, then Dhammanupassana. Right? But I would tell you, because you are still getting to know the practice, better to, do a practice separately. And once you get to the level, you know that these are not practices that you are doing in a certain linear way. So whenever the opportunities are arising, you will grab the opportunities and then practice them. But I think it's very clear that these opportunities are always happening all the time. So the answer to this question is, let me go and see the question again. Yes, so they are supporting each other. Now think about if I went through a certain, I would say, happy feeling today, right? Then I'm going to see it under the Vedananupassana. Happy feeling as happy feeling, right? And at the same time, that happy feeling can be identified through certain bodily context too. Now, say for instance, you might be thinking, because I went to see that person, I went for a coffee today with my friend. I had a happy feeling about that situation. But while I was walking, that walking made me to make that happen. That walking was a what do you call Iriyapata. Iriyapata moment. Iriyapata moment, posture meditation. I could have done it posture meditation, and that made me to meet that person. I saw the person, and then the feeling that I had, and with the feeling, thoughts. And then I could do a follow-up with regard to how I manage my Panchakanda, Panchanivarana, all that. So they are, I would say, mutually inclusive. You can't cherry pick one or the other. But at the beginning, yes, I would advise you because you still getting to know, right? So better to master a couple of them slowly for some time. Then you will practice them whenever you can. Okay, that's what we can see in the sutta. So keep in mind that you will have to practice them separately at the beginning. It is the same thing, right? Because when you, as you learn something in the first place, you are still learning, right? Until you come to a certain level that you are confident about your Satipaṭṭhāna practice. So that would be a separate practice. But when you master, when you feel confident about the situation, then you will practice them simultaneously, depending on the opportunity you are having from any Satipaṭṭhāna section. Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, Dhamma. Third question. Any follow-up question to this? We will be given the chance to ask more questions later, but any follow-up question to this particular question? Okay, we go to the third one. How does one know that Satipaṭṭhāna is being practiced correctly and leading toward Nirvana, not just Kamo concentration. Okay, very good question. We have repeatedly learned about all Satipaṭṭhāna practices under 2 stages. What are those 2 stages? Calmness stage and then insight stage. Now the person who is asking the question is telling us exactly Western meditation style, mindfulness style. They are only looking for relaxation. That is their way, right? So if someone is only ending at the calmness section, then that will only be a relaxation technique. That's why the Buddha says, once you are calm enough, then you are going to bring your particular Satipaṭṭhāna practice, any Satipaṭṭhāna practice, into the next level. The next level is insight practice. What is insight practice? Internally, you have to practice the same Satipaṭṭhāna practice internally, externally, looking at the origin, looking at the resolution, both internal, external, both origin and dissolution, and being able to keep that particular Satipaṭṭhāna practice with right mindfulness repeatedly, Patisatimattaya, and at the same time, in the process, you are not going to depend on your 5 khandha anymore. You use them, but you don't depend on them, and you don't cling to them. So now you're asking, how do I know I'm heading towards Nibbana? There might be a long journey, right? But you can measure your Satipaṭṭhāna practice with regard to the last part of the insight part. If your Satipaṭṭhāna practice brings you to a certain internalization, externalization, both, and if your Satipaṭṭhāna practice can bring you to understand the origin of that particular object, say for instance, Anapanasati. Why do I breathe? Because I was reborn in this samsaric life. Then what would be the dissolution? What would be the end of this breathing practice? That means, there's no particular end until even I attain Nibbana. So I have to finish my Panchakanda, right? So I always check back with Panchakanda. And also, you are going to check whether I can stay onto the right mindfulness repeatedly. And also you are checking your progress with this beautiful yardstick. The yardstick is that how much dependence and clinging have I been having at this moment with this particular practice. If the clinging and dependence on the Panchakanda is still going in the same way just like before, that means the practice is not flourishing, thriving, flourishing by this time. But if you feel that through any of the Satipaṭṭhāna practice, your dependence and your clinging is going to lower slowly, gradually. You feel progress is happening now. But I don't have to be super excited about it. I just do it, right? Don't be excited about any Dhamma practice. If the particular Satipaṭṭhāna practice is not working for you, perhaps you are not doing it the proper way, like how we discuss in Sutta, or that practice is not good for you. You have to change the practice to another practice. Because that's why there are so many practices, especially Kayanupassana, because normally you pick up Kayanupassana practices. Vedananupassana doesn't have a lot of practices, only 9 feelings. Perhaps you need to change your Kayanupassana, particular Satipaṭṭhāna practice, into one that you are able to practice in your own way. So the teacher could feel that you had to communicate with the teacher. Teacher can give you the better Satipaṭṭhāna practice, right? So that is how you can measure. Make sense? Okay. Let's go to the next question. What common misinterpretations of the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta do you see among lay practitioners today? And what may Kalyana Mitta advise to correct the misinterpretation? Okay, this is a very sensitive topic, but I would like to say, we treasure every Kalyana Mitta, maybe whether they are misperceived or not, right? It is always by a clear communication with regard to the subject we can dispel. When you meet a teacher can kindly dispel. Okay, what are the basic fundamental misconceptions that we have with regard to Satipaṭṭhāna. Okay, number one is translation problems. Okay, that is the biggest problem that I see, because if you don't understand the Pali words properly, then even we try to use our own English words, then we are complicating more and more. That's number one. Number two, not being able to understand the Satipaṭṭhāna context. Right? Every sutta in the Pali canon, especially Nikayas, first four Nikayas, particularly speaking Majjhima Nikaya, and all those first four Nikayas, Digha Majjhima Samyutta Anguttara, they have a context. You have to be very careful to learn these suttas with the proper context under a good teacher. The good teacher doesn't only know English language. The good teacher should understand the Pali with regard to the cross-textual context, right? That's a very serious thing, because otherwise you will learn through English. In English, you create a certain framework in your own way, right? You can make it, right? Because in English thinking, you can make that own way. But in Pali, it might not be the proper context. Right. So one of the very biggest issues is number one is language issue. Number two is context, not being able to understand the individual context and the cross-contextual aspects of the suttas. And then the Western interpretation of the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, that is also a problem, right? I mean, not a problem. I think it's it can complicate people, you know, mindfulness, meditation styles and all that. And the other thing is the what do you call different traditions that have been responding to the Satipaṭṭhāna practice. I mean, they are doing something good, but the problem is they have their own cultural version towards Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta's context. I'm not gonna name who they are. That's not nice. So I mean, we would like to learn, but the thing is that what if that things have been further complicated because of the cultural language context, right? So, and then the other thing is that not being able to find out the proper sutta study to learn all these things, right? So there are so many other perceptions with regard to this. So I think we kind of dispel most of the misconceptions by learning the sutta itself. Because that's why I told you there are two parts of every Satipaṭṭhāna, right? Calmness practice, insight. If you want to say that you are doing well, you must perform the both, right? And then these practices are mutually inclusive. And it doesn't say that you have to practice the whole practice. You have to practice the 36 Satipaṭṭhāna. No, you don't need that, right? Different people are different. Right? So when you understand these contexts, especially the language part and cross-contextual aspects of Satipaṭṭhāna, so then only I think we will be hassle-free with regard to this Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. You are also asking what may a Kalyana Mitta advise to correct? Well, Sangha members are Kalyana Mittas, but you have to learn it from the right person. And I think there may be lay people too who can give you this advice. You never know, right? To learn Dhamma, the proper Dhamma, there is no problem with regard to the dress code, right? Somebody might have studied both by text and the practice, right? So Kalyana Mitta can, I wouldn't say correct. Kalyana Mitta can guide you. Now the word correcting you could be a little bit daunting experience, you know, right? Now in normal language, you don't give a lecture to me, right? Just guide me in my life in a happy, kind way, you know. I think that's a very good way to tell some people, you know, don't lecture me, you know. Don't correct me, or this is not the proper way to do it. No, I can guide you. This is how I think. You just think about whether you like it or not. Right? So Kalyana Mittas are not going to correct every time. They can guide you if you request their support. That is the better way to say that. And because I'm looking at it in a normal life perspective. Otherwise, whenever you are with someone who know little Dhamma, they're going to correct you all the time. This is not how you should sit down. This is not how you should speak. You should do this and that. I think it will be kind of a little bit not a happy feeling, you know. We all look for the happiness, anicca happiness, right? So I think Kalyana Mitta will guide all of us, right? If that comes from Sangha members or lay people. Right, next question. In the meditation of the breath, Anapanasati, there are 4 main steps, tetrads. Tetrad mean one section has 4. To practice on each of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Body has a tetrad 4, feeling has a tetrad 4, mind has we say thoughts have a tetrad 4, and Dhammanupassana has a tetrad for 4. In total, there are 16 steps, tetrads to the breath meditation. Are these exercises related, or is it a spin-off of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta? I notice 2 similarities, as Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta also mentions the 4 foundations of mindfulness meditation exercises on the body, feelings, mind, and phenomena, mental phenomena. Once again, thoughts. And exercises 24 to 31 deal with meditative absorptions. And I think this was a follow-up, right? Not a question. Bhante, we often encounter the term, okay, this is a question. I think that part was deleted. All right, what is this, what do you call, this teaching, the 4 tetrads? Has anybody found this particular place in the text? This is called Anapanasati Sutta. Okay, there's a sutta about breath meditation. I think Majjhima Nikaya's 118. Let me take a look. Yes, MN 118. So now we can be a little confused, right? Why did the Buddha teach in all the Satipaṭṭhāna Suttas, Digha Nikaya 22, Majjhima Nikaya 10, and almost 100 suttas in the Satipaṭṭhāna Samyutta? Why did the Buddha not explain this much, just like how we see in the Anapanasati Sutta? Here is the thing. Number 1 is this Anapanasati Sutta's way. This sutta says that serious, a deep Anapanasati meditator can bring the same Anapanasati practice more than the Anapanasati section of the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. Right? I think we discussed the basic way to practice it, right? The first is that so satova assasati satova passasati. With right mindfulness, I can see my breath. I breathe in, I breathe out. Then digangwa asasanto diga asasamiti pajanati. Rasangwa asasanto rasang. So the diga rasa, that means when I go through a long breath and I watch it, I know, and the short breath, both sides. Then it said, Sabbakaya patisangvedi asasisami sikkati. That one sikkati. Earlier pajanati, and this one train myself. Train yourself. Say, when I go through any type of breath, I'm able to see the beginning, the what you call rising, and then staying and going away of those parts. And then passambayang kaya sankarang asasisamiti pasasisamiti. I know that my kaya sankaras, that means asasa pasasa, breathe in, breathe out, needs to be calmed down. Because how to calm down? When I watch it, they become calm down. When I don't watch it, they won't calm down. That's a very simple thing. Normally we don't watch it. Then it becomes agitated. The moment I watch it, I become calm down. Right? So this is the explanation we see in the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. Not even that. Girimananda Sutta, 2 main Satipaṭṭhāna Suttas, Satipaṭṭhāna Samyutta, all across Satipaṭṭhāna practice, Buddha only talks about this part. So what do you think? This is the basic way to practice it. Basic way means the simple way to practice it. I think we all have to start with that place, right? We don't want to complicate, right? So we don't want to complicate the practice. So that's why the Buddha said, start with Satipaṭṭhāna. But there are some Sangha members, could be Arahants, some Sangha members, could be lay practitioners too, we don't know. Some Sangha members who could stay on to the breath and could navigate into the next levels, could get into the Vedana part, Chitta part, Dhamma part. In my understanding, like whenever you grab the opportunities with regard to Satipaṭṭhāna, you also do it indirectly. You don't have to go through that. The same thing happens. Let's say, now if I think from today, I mean, if you think from today, okay, from today, I am going to grab any Vedana opportunities as Vedananupassana, Chitta opportunities as Chittanupassana, Dhamma opportunities as Dhammanupassana. What would happen to you? Your same breath practice will help you navigate your feelings as they are, Chittas as they are, Dhammas as they are. So the same thing happens, right? It is happening. It is happening in the way, in a different way. Uh, Once we, through the breath, when we calm us down, through that breath, there are other things that are going to work on, especially Vedana, Chitta, Dhamma. But in the sutta, it says, Anapanasati Sutta, it says, a serious practitioner definitely would take all these four Satipatthanas in a very condensed way through certain particular sections. Let's take a look at that part. I have this Anapanasati Sutta open here. Right. Let's see here. Before we go to that point, I want to tell you, this sutta says something else. We should not forget about it. This sutta says when you practice breath meditation in that serious and then what you call sustained way, you will get to the 7 bojjhangas. At the end, it says. So you also practice 7 bojjhangas in a very, how to say this, in a very short term. It's a fast track practice of anapanasati. It's a fast track. I mean, you are fast tracking 4 satipatthanas through anapanasati. It's a little bit daunting, serious thing to do. When you fast track things, let's say you are migrating to a certain country, you have a qualification back in your country, you want a fast track, you don't want to start from the beginning again, do the small studies, diploma and all that. So this is only for a certain sustained practitioner with the teacher's guidance. So the sutta even says when through the breath meditation in a very sustained way, one will get to the 7 bojjhangas. Through the 7 bojjhangas, that person will go to Vijja Vimukti. It's a very high goal. I mean, rather than we hit the high goal, I better we practice Satipaṭṭhāna, in separate ways. And then I think that is simple for us. I mean, you have to do undergraduate degree before you go to the PhD, right? I mean, I think we will look at that way. But for some people, it is a way to go. We cannot underscore it. For some, different people are different, right? I always tell the story that we studied in OPRC class, remember? Different people are different. Sometimes the people that we don't know have better capabilities. Remember the story that we studied in Dhammapada, where certain monks went for a vassa to a certain village. When they went to the village, there was no temple. So they found a lady in the village. And she was very happy. She said, "What can I do for you?" And they said, "We want dana." She said, "What is dana?" I said, we are practicing our cultivation. We need some meals." She said, "Okay, I will talk to people. I will arrange the dana." So every time she brings dana with other people, she sees that Sangha members are sitting down and sort of their own something that they are doing. So she was very excited about the practice. And then she asked one day from the head monk, chief monk, if you don't mind, can you also teach me what you are doing? And they said, that's no problem. We will teach you. So they taught her the, what you call, the basic teachings that they are learning. It is said in the story that she attained uh, Sakadagami, Sakadagami level of the enlightenment. But the monks couldn't even come to Sotapattha. Very interesting. She was a Buddhist. And then what happened? Um, Now the monks felt the food are all monotonous. Every day she's bringing roti or something. They felt like, why every day roti? The preference something. And then next day, the lady was bringing something that they were thinking. They were like, oh, how come she's bringing this food? We just thought it last night. And they checked couple times. Every time they wanted something, she's bringing in the morning. And they understood through her enlightenment, she could now read their mind. So the monks became very scared now. If they go through Akusala thought, this lady will catch very fast, right? So they also, what you call, try fast and then attain, what you call, Nibbana. Very interesting, right? A non-Buddhist could go to that level. What does it mean? Different people are different. That's why I think for the Satipattana practice, I would say, because we are talking to basic, crowd, lay people, you have so many works to do. I think better we will do with Satipattana. It's a very simple, actually, it's not simple too, if you look at it. Calmness and insight part, it's a kind of a challenge. Rather than catching the Anapanasati in a very high-end way. So it might not be very easy for you to do it regular. You will do it 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, but it might not be easy. Okay? But still we value it. If somebody can do it that way, but I think every Dhamma practice should be a practical thing. Not that we read it and next day we cannot do it, right? That consistency must be there. And I also want to tell you the next sutta after this. Now, Mahachattarisa Sutta, and I am MN 117. Then 118 is this Sutta Anapanasati. 119 is another Sati Sutta. What is it? Kayagata Sati Sutta. Now you will see the problem here. Let's go to that sutta. I will tell you, Kayagata Sati Sutta says, if you haven't read that, another similar problem. What does it say? You can practice all the Kayanupassana together to attain Nibbana. So now you need to understand these suttas were given to certain high-end individuals. So we don't want to complicate all these. So the Buddha gave Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta for the whole crowd. So they can practice in their own way. Now, if you go to Kayagata Sati Sutta, show you. See that? Because if you are wondering about all these small suttas, then you will see the next one. Kayagata Sati Sutta. You can see here. Okay. See, and how bhikkhus is mindfulness of the body developed, cultivated to be very fruitful. See, Buddha talking about same mindfulness practice here. I will breathe same thing. And then Buddha talks about Iriyapata here. I am walking, I am lying down, I am sitting and all. And then Buddha talks about Sampajana, going out, talking and all these things. Same stuff we discussed. And Buddha also talks about Patikula Manasikara, 31 body parts. And Buddha then talks about Dhatu. Yes, Dhatu, see, elements. And then Buddha talks about those 9 charnel grounds, right? See, skeleton and all that, bone, ribs, white bone, we discuss all them. So that means When Buddha wanted to talk to different people, he used different strategies for different people. But there are certain suttas that are generic for everybody. Right? Now it's the same way. Sometimes Vedana is 2, sometimes Vedana is 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 6, sometimes 12, sometimes 30 something, sometimes 100 OA. Why is it? Different people need different clarification. But if we are going to learn about Vedana, I have to learn all these 108 Vedana. I don't think that is necessary. I better learn 9 Vedanas in the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. And this is how we have to understand. So I would say Anapanasati Sutta or Kayagata Sati Sutta, those suttas were given to specific individuals for fast tracking their enlightenment, right? And then, yes, we can learn certain things, but I don't think this could be your daily practice. If daily practice is such, then Buddha would have definitely included them under the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, but Buddha did not. But if you see at the end of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, each practice Buddha is clearly bringing up the same mind. If you see Anapanasati Sutta, same thing. In a way, you are not going to depend on the Panchakkanda. You are not going to cling on to Panchakkanda. That's what we want. That is how we need to understand Anapanasati Sutta, Kayagata Sutta. So I would suggest and encourage you to go back to the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta practices that you feel you are comfortable, convenient to practice. And the next thing will be the question. Okay. So the question here, are these exercises related? Yes, they are related. Is it a spin-off of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta? Definitely, Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta is the masterpiece. So it came from Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, but then it was given to certain individuals to fast track their enlightenment. Okay, that is how we need to understand that. Question 6. We often encounter the term contemplation in Dhamma talks and Dharma books. Is contemplating one's thoughts also part of Satipaṭṭhāna practice? Yes. But what is contemplation? Contemplation in English means thinking about something thinking about something in the long run for a possible result. This is how they've translated contemplation. Is there a contemplation in Satipaṭṭhāna practice? Yes. What is it? Anupassana. We find that Pali word. Let's take a look at Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. You can see here. Let's go to the first one, breathing one. You can see here. Yeah, Kaya Anupassana. Yeah, Anupassana. Vedana Anupassana. Anupassana means you are going to contemplate on that particular object that you are using, that it be that body, feelings, thoughts, or mental phenomena. Because you have to look at it as it is, right? So you have to keep looking at it, isn't it? Now, Anupassana means you are looking at it the way how it is. So it is a part of the right mindfulness practice, because without Anupassana, you are not going to make it as right mindfulness. Actually, what is happening to us is that when there is no contemplation, Anupassana, then we will take it in our own way, isn't it? Right? Now, let's take the feelings. You can take anything. When you take the feelings as Anupassana, you want to look at it the way how it is. Happiness, unhappiness, neutral feeling, worldly happy, worldly sad, worldly neutral, and spiritual happy, spiritual unhappy, spiritual neutral. Like so, but the thing is that when people take happy feeling, they are not taking in the way how it is in the lived experience. They are taking it in their interpretation aspect. I feel so good today, that goodness is better than yesterday. They are switching between the interpretations. They are with regard to their experience, right? So that's why the Buddha said contemplation is necessary with regard to how you see it. So just carry on that perspective with regard to how it should have to be looked at. So it is a part of, I could say, the functional nature of the Satipaṭṭhāna practice. Any Satipaṭṭhāna practice is contemplation. Okay. You are talking about Dhamma talks, Dhamma books. Can we say something about it? Now, ever since you became a Buddhist or you studying Buddhism, you are learning a lot of Dhamma things. Huh? Can you tell me one very simple Dhamma teaching you've been learning every day, almost every day, in almost every Dhamma talk? Huh? Simple, very simple. Is observing same as contemplating? Yes, we could say yes, because you are watching something in the long run for a possible result. The result is that you are supposed to look at it as it is. Yes, so it can be mutual, I think. The difference is just a matter of English. So tell me a very simple Buddhist teaching you are learning from almost every Dhamma talk, Dhamma book, 5 precepts. Huh? That's your discipline as a layperson. So now, are you taking 5 precepts as they are, or are you taking them within your interpretations as well? Sometimes. Not killing, not stealing, not sexually misbehaving, not lying, not taking any intoxicants that could cloud your thoughts. Sometimes people take with regard to their own interpretations. It's okay to lie, it's a white lie. But the problem is you are not contemplating the idea of not lying. Then that part is what you call within the interpretation, within your own judgment. So that's why it is very important to contemplate the way how the text has given those teachings initially. All right, let's go to the next question. So the answer is yes, contemplation is the function of each Satipaṭṭhāna section, because we find the word called anupassana. What is meant by see things as they are, and how does it relate to the practice of Satipaṭṭhāna? Actually, that is the most important thing in all these Satipaṭṭhāna practices. If you go to any Satipaṭṭhāna practice, it is saying to us that see the feeling as it is, see the thought as it is, see the body as it is, see the Dhamma as they are. Because we are bringing a lot of our own, just now we discussed them, our own versions. So the moment that we see as they are, then we are limiting the dependency and clinging towards panchakkhanda, right? And the more we bring interpretations, the more we complicating our dukkha with regard to handling our panchakkhanda. So the answer to this question is that seeing things as they are related to the particular objects of the Satipaṭṭhāna practice. So if it is a body, then you should be able to see the body. Now think about patikula manasikara. A lot of people are thinking, I think we discussed that a lot. Patikula manasikara means, what do you call? For many people, it is to discuss the body, right? This is how they understand. Actually, the Buddha said that the akusala is a mental thing, right? So this discuss should happen. Definitely, we have to take care of us. The discuss should happen from the conceptualization. Because we are making akusala. Our interpretations about likes and dislikes come from conceptualization. The Buddha said in many suttas, raga, kama start from conceptualization. Why? Ah, that person is so beautiful, pretty, handsome, right? And this is what I like. This is my cup of tea. Like all these are conceptualizations. So you need to discuss the conceptualization, not the person. So when you discuss the conceptualization, discuss here means you see it as unpleasant at the point. You have no problem with regard to the body, right? So that's why it is very important to see the conceptualization that is attached to the body, feelings, thoughts, and dhamma. So the answer to this question, which is, let's go back again. What is meant by see things as they are? What is meant by this, what you call seeing things as they are, means that we should be able to see the object as it is, not creating conceptualization, which further leads us to create interpretations, details, unnecessary interpretations. Right? So we are able to see in this process the objects as it is in our lived experience. The way how I view beautification, decoration could be different from your beautification, decoration. How do we know that? How do we know it? So when we go to a place that we want to enjoy, you see different people go to different places of that place, isn't it? Even you go to a restaurant with your family, they want to order different things, right? Let's say you go into a botanical garden, different people go to different places of the botanical garden. Why? They like different flowers. So their beautification lies in their own conceptualization, right? So the Buddha says that is the thing. I mean, beautification, decoration, they are okay as long as you are not going to depend on them, as long as you are not going to cling on to them. So now you can refer to people, everything, food, right? So seeing things as they are means being able to see any object, especially body, feelings, thoughts, dhammas, as they are in your live experience. Live experience, the moment that you are going through in your experience. And the second part is, how does it relate to the practice? Yes, that is Satipaṭṭhāna. When you are able to see them as they are, that itself becomes the Satipaṭṭhāna. When you are not able to see things as they are, what you are doing, you are seeing things as we are, as you are, and that is not the Satipaṭṭhāna practice. It is the opposite of Satipaṭṭhāna practice. Actually, sometimes even when you want to enjoy a beautiful experience, you need Satipaṭṭhāna. Not even to remove akusala. Let's say that you want to enjoy with your loved ones. You want to enjoy. Maybe you want to buy something from a shop, right? It is also an experience, right? So if you are not able to see the product as it is, then there is a likelihood that you will end up with wrong prices, wrong product, and you will be caught up with the wrong marketing. Even you might be trapped with the scammers and wrong marketing as well. So only when I see the product as it is, then I can understand this is the product I want to buy for my particular need. So I think being able to see as it is will help us to navigate even our happy experiences, not even akusala experiences too. So they are part of Satipaṭṭhāna practice. Question number 8. I think we will go a little bit faster because of the timing. Please explain more about Chitta and Sati. Well, that's an overnight talk. Chitta means ethical part of our cognition. Sati means right mindfulness. Basically, I'm simply speaking. Because Buddha is always placing emphasis with regard to the ethical part of the cognition. Chitta, because Buddha is very much highlighting the chitta part. Because mind is this life uh, sense faculty where chittas are operating within inside. So he's asking us to be watchful about the uh, ethical, what do you call, presence or unethical presence in that cognition that is called chitta. And sati, I have to add it, samma sati, right mindfulness. So I think when you have the samma sati, your thoughts will be naturally ethical. And you will see the difference between what you call good sila, bad sila, right? This is how we understand in the text. Question number 9 is that. So, how do I incorporate all the Satipaṭṭhāna exercises into the daily meditation? What did I say at the beginning? I said, don't try to think that I have to start from here and there when you are able to do it. First, you will start one by one. But when you are confident about it, practice whenever you get an opportunity with regard to any of the Satipaṭṭhāna practice. If you are going through a very much emotional moment, then Vedanānupassana. Right? If you could. If you are going through a certain bodily moment, then Kayanupassana. If you are more focusing on thoughts, then Chittanupassana. If you want to reflect upon what you have been doing, you want to check back your practice at the end of the day, and you want to check back your spiritual practice, Dhammanupassana. So I think you are going to integrate the Satipatthanas as opportunities arise in your daily life. So it's not that you start Kayanupassana 8 o'clock in the morning and go to Vedananupassana 12 o'clock, and Chitta go to Chitta at 4 o'clock and sleep time Dhammanupassana. Don't do that, because then you become like a like robot, you become mechanical in your mind, right mindfulness. Just practice them easy. As whenever you go through opportunities, grab those opportunities to practice whatever the Satipaṭṭhāna exercises that you think amenable, suitable, apposite to your practice. Otherwise, there is no hard and fast way to do it. For healthcare workers, especially those working in ICU areas, kindly advise how a carer can manage anxiety and burnout and provide emotional and spiritual support to clients based on Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. If you are a healthcare worker and you are working in a pretty much busy, emotionally very much busy place, and it is very normal that you go through the anxiety. I mean, what we learn from Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta is that you need to be stable in your emotions, especially Vedananupassana part will be very much suitable for healthcare workers in particular, because they have to handle what you call patients' emotions and patient relatives' emotions as well. So then they are going to see them as they are not giving the reactions right away. Some people, some healthcare workers, they become paranoid as well, overwhelmed, maybe burnout. They might say not good stuff too. So just understand the feelings of people, patients and others. And also when you know them, you know how to talk to them, how to behave. I know that if you are a healthcare worker, a lot of things are unpredictable. And you are working in a very much unpredictable place. A lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainties that can happen. So what is the best thing that you learn from Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta if you are a healthcare worker? You are going to stable in your emotions, regardless of what you go through in the ICU, all those emergency units, you are stable. If there is any need from my service, I just do it without hesitance by keeping my, what do you call, stability, my emotional stability. That is number one. Number two is that whenever you go through those circumstances in the places like that, it is possible for you to develop certain thoughts, especially dosa, moha, sankita, vikita, distracted thoughts, contracted thoughts, sometimes a little bit angry thoughts because some relatives, patients are asking you more, right? So you don't need to develop them. You are trying to do your support within your ethics. If it is not your part that you should do, sometimes you can't go to that extra mile. So you are going to be careful and right mindful and do the support and then do the coordination if you cannot do that thing. So I think overall, Vedanānupassana could be the best for somebody who is going through those uh, situations in that kind of a very uh, uh, busy and a very responsible place. So then you are monitoring your Vedananupassana and Chittanupassana. At the same time, you can also practice uh, Kayanupassana and then what you call Dhammanupassana. You see people are coming to the hospitals, injured. Sometimes a lot of things have happened to them, right? But whenever you see them, you see the reality of life. Maybe you are going to be very much driven to do more good karmas. You are wishing them, right? So all these are happening from Vedananupassana and Chittanupassana practices, basically. Okay. That's the next question. Is there a single infographic diagram to mind map and illustrate all the connections and connectivity of the 36 exercises in Satipaṭṭhāna practice? I think I have one. Let's see. Please, let me pull that. Okay, so it's here. I think I can send you to the chat over here so you can see, everybody can see it. And I'm going to show it from here too. Okay, what if I show you something like this? A progression of the four Satipatthanas. This I could say that this could be a consequential gradual practice to some people, but not necessarily. And if you look at this part, you can see the interconnectedness of the four Satipatthanas. So the breath is the focal practice. So all the others are actually working around the breath, right? So whenever you could monitor your breaths, I think you could monitor all the other practices too, because whatever you are doing, your postures, full what you call vice awareness activities. So I think this could be a good place to see that infographic place. Please explain this phrase. They meditate, observing the mind as liable to originate, as liable to fall, and as liable to both originate and vanish. So how did we explain this part? This is a part of the insight, right? Now the person is asking, how does it happen with regard to the mind? But we don't know what practice you are talking about. If it is, because in the Dhammanupassana, we got 5 practices, right? 5 hindrances, 5 clicking aggregates. Then what else? What else we discuss? 7 bojjhangas.
Four Noble Truths.
And then?
Four Noble Truths.
Four Noble Truths. And what was missing after that? We were discussing about
Ayatana.
10 spheres, 12 ayatanas we discussed. So each one has an origin and a resolution. Now, if you go back to this point, we take this one. If you are talking hindrances, then we know why we are going through hindrances, because we are reborn with the 5 aggregate, right? That's why we are going through hindrances. Aggregates are the similar. How did we get sense spheres? It's the same issue. 7 bojjhangas. Only when we practice 7 bojjhanga reasons, remember we discussed them, right? We discuss how can they arise. May I know how do the 7 Bojjhangas arise? That's a good question from you. You will be answering that question. May I know how do we create Bojjhangas? This will show how much you are studying. Huh?
Is it practice it with Yoniso Manasikara? Bhante?
Yoniso Manasikara. We only with Yoniso Manasikara, Bojjhangas arise. Now, origin is Yoniso Manasikara. Then the dissolution means no Yoniso Manasikara. Then no Bojjhangas. No Yoniso Manasikara, no Bojjhangas. Right? If there are if there is Yoniso Manasikara, there are Bojjhangas. So that way we understand origin and dissolution. And then noble truths. Noble truths. Why do they arise? It is because of why are noble truths present in our life? Is because of dukkha, right? Because of dukkha. And then what is the disappearance of dukkha? Nibbana. Right? When we go to the Nibbana, attain the Nibbana, then that will. So in that way, we need to know what is meant by what you call origin and the disintegration fall have to be decided based on the particular Satipaṭṭhāna practice. That is what we were discussing about origination and vanishing. I think the last question. See. Oh. Is walking posture the most important meditation posture in the progress of our practice? Number 40. Okay. I think this question is duplicated. Well, it depends. I think walking meditation, what do you call, one of the practices of posture meditation, right? Iriyapata, is a very good meditation. In my experience of conducting retreats, a lot of young people had personally told me that sitting meditation was not very good for them. I mean, because of their age, perhaps. They like doing the walking meditation, right? Some people, they like answering and talking to people while walking. One day I stopped one person, one of my friends. I said, why are you walking and talking to people? And then the person told me, only when I walk, I can talk very well. Oh, that's a good point. So why don't you sit down and then you talk? So when I sit down, details don't come to me. And the person is free from dementia. And I mean, I tell you, I would guarantee normal person. Some people feel that walking gives them some kind of ability. But now, in the walking meditation, you are walking not to do something, right? You are walking to see the walking. Perhaps this could be the best way for many people to do the meditation. It depends. I think it depends. I could say more or less. So it depends on the person. All right. We have done answering the questions that were posted. Now, we will be opening up this floor for another maybe 10 minutes for any other questions that you may ask. So please raise your virtual hand to ask the question. All right, we got a question into the chat. That's a very long question. This question is not related to Satipaṭṭhāna directly, but whether one can experience Satipaṭṭhāna at a Bhavanamaya Panya level. There are two types of person born as a result of their resultant karma. I think you are bringing us to Abhidhamma. It's not a Sutta Pitaka question. Dvihetuka Patisanti, Tihetuka Patisanti. Everybody knows what is Dvihetuka, Trihetuka? This is Abhidhamma way to describe the rebirth. Dvihetuka means that someone is reborn, like as a human, basically, only with alobha, adosa. But the third one is moha. That is not a very good rebirth. Right? Sometimes there are humans, they are reborn with certain disabilities. Still, we are very compassionate towards them, but Abhidhamma looks at it different. And some people are reborn with 3 roots. Ti-Hetuka Patisana. Alobha, Adosa, Amoha. What do we mean by reborn with three roots? That means the last moment that you spend in that previous life, the karma that you done just before you passed away, it had that karma was free from lobha, dosa, moha. It's a very giant karma, okay? Then you will be reborn as a very much affluent, healthy person. But some people, they still had moha a little bit. I mean, we all have moha, but that person less moha. Maybe done a very good, interesting, good karma. Some people are reborn because by having the last karma to be free from only lobha dosa, but the moha is there. So dvihetuka, trihetuka, like as such. People with 2 roots have no wisdom root. Thus, in this life, is fated cannot attain sotapanna, even higher level. That's how to look at from spiritual point Abhidhamma. Does that mean people with 2 roots will only be stuck at Suttamaya Panya, cannot develop into Bhavanamaya Panya? Okay, how do you know you are born with two roots or 3 roots? May I know? That is it. Don't think too much about this thing. Abhidhamma talks about it. You don't know, and we don't know. Who knows about this thing? This is just a way to look at it. So now, if somebody might think, let's say there is someone who's studying Dhamma every day, but cannot attain a certain enlightenment stage. Now, at the same time, the person is reading a little bit of Abhidhamma here. The person might relate, maybe I was reborn with 2 roots, right? So I think it's not good to relate us to these situations because we don't know exactly where we are. What I suggest is that perhaps you need more practice in your sansaric life, right? So if you look at stories during the Buddha's time, there were so many people who had a lot of problems they could overcome differently. So although you learn these things from Abhidhamma, don't try to relate to you right away, right? So if you could know for them for sure, then we can discuss about it. Otherwise, merely reading and then thinking that I was reborn as 2 roots, that is still itself not factual, maybe perspective, right? So cannot come to a kind of a thing. But I can answer about your Bhavanamaya Panya, Suttamaya Panya. You are talking from Sangita Sutta, Digha Nikaya. I can say that Buddha talks about 3 types of wisdom. Suttamaya Panya, wisdom attained through knowledge. Chintamaya Panya, wisdom attained through rationalization, rationalizing what you learn. And then Bhavanamaya Panya, wisdom attained through cultivation. Okay, so I think we all have to cultivate these 3. So because the reality is still invisible for all of us because it's not factual for us to understand about us. So we cannot connect this to those panya levels because we don't know how we were reborn. But I just tell you, if you had no big issue in your life, you were reborn as a 3 root kusala karma, right? Less lobha, less dosa, less moha. So I think you need to cultivate. So I think let us be hopeful that. Okay, let's see one more question here. We are told to think of good thoughts during our last moment. How do we do this in such a crucial way? Do we know our last moment? We don't know, so don't worry about it. I just tell you, just do the good things. One day it will be the last moment. That will be a very practical way to look at it, right? But otherwise, if you are trying to see your last moment, you become very anxious, you become very agitated, you become very scared, and then more dosa will come out, right? Don't think about it. One day it will come to you. So just do good things. It will be somewhere within a good karma that we are doing. Okay, any other questions you got about Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta today? Please raise your virtual hand. Yes, Anne, please go ahead. Anne and then Doris. Yes, please go ahead. Anne, can you unmute your microphone, please?
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes.
With practice of Satipaṭṭhāna, will our five senses be refined, especially our taste and our smell?
We practice our
Satipaṭṭhāna. Will our five senses become more refined? Like we
okay.
can smell from a very far place, or we can taste something into a very refined kind of taste.
So what you are saying is through the Satipaṭṭhāna practice, someone can refine the sensory experience?
Yes.
So what is the plan of that? What do you think about it? The overall, the next level of that thing, if it is refining?
That's why I'm not understanding it, Bhante.
That's why I'm going to answer now. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Bhante.
So let's say now I have my ears, I have my eyes, I have my nose, I have my tongue, I have my body, I have my mind, right? So I have a corresponding object that I go through, right? I see you now. I see something I like or I dislike. Better I have not a lot of dislikes, I have upekka to look at it. So when you practice what do you call uh, uh, the Satipaṭṭhāna practice. What is the Satipaṭṭhāna practice? Dhammanupassana, right? We talk about ayatana, right? That the ayatana practice. What will happen to us is that we are understanding our likes and our dislikes, because we are very much clinging to likes and dislikes. So we enjoy the moment, but we are not going to cling to that experience. In a way, we can say it is a refinement, right? In a way, it's a refinement. But the most important thing is that you don't cling to the experience. That is such. So how do you not cling to the experience? You know what you are doing. Normally, why we are cling to the sense experience? Because we are going to be worried about, maybe more conscious about the details of the experience, not the taste itself, not the sight itself, not the sound itself. We want to be very much excited about how nice to see that thing. And we are so much struck by the sight, so much struck by the sound. Other than that, I think the rest of the things of the experience should be okay. It's a kind of refinement too. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes. Now, if you look at the breath meditation, the more you calm yourself, calm your breath, what is happening? You refine your breath. You refine your breath. Earlier, you felt the breath here, but now you don't feel the breath anymore. Right? If you feel your breath, unless you have a medical condition, that means you are not calmed down properly. So I think there's a refinement happening. But the most important thing that should happen is less clinging or no clinging. Clinging is normal to unenlightened being, at least less clinging. At the very least, I know my clinging, so I can better take care of myself. Yes.
Bhante, it's not just the pleasant part of the senses.
No, we have to experience the pleasant part.
At times
Yes.
it's the unpleasant part, How do we overcome this unpleasant? We don't cling to the unpleasant.
Take unpleasant as unpleasant. That's it. Take pleasant as pleasant. Take unpleasant as unpleasant. Don't try to interpret it. Now we interpret the pleasant experience, we interpret the unpleasant experience. Then the problems are coming up. Right? It happens, right? Because the problem is pleasant, unpleasant cannot be avoided in our life. That's the problem. So we cannot do. So we have to accept them as worldly conditions. Everybody goes through happiness, unhappiness, compliments, criticisms on a daily basis. We cannot control it that much. We can manage, but we cannot. Buddha also went through blames from people. Venerable Ananda said, Buddha, can we go to another cities? The Buddha is asking a very practical question. What if the people will do the same thing to us in the next city? Are you going to move to another city? Buddha said, no, just stay here. People will understand the truth. So we cannot avoid the blame and happiness. Let us embrace them without clinging to the experience. Likes and dislikes. I think when we lower the details, our own interpretations to the happiness, unhappiness, or whatever the experiences, we are good in that experience. Yes, Doris, what's your question, please?
Bhante, can you please explain regarding the three kinds of suffering, which is in the Dukkata Sutta, that is regarding the second one, suffering inherent in perishing. What sort of suffering are we encountering when thank you.
Dukkata Sutta teaches us the three forms of dukkha we go through in our life. Okay, number one is dukkha dukkata. That means direct pain. Right? If you pinch yourself, if you have had a fall, if you trip, you feel the pain right away, right? That is, I think that doesn't need to be discussed a lot. You know that. Dukkha dukkata. Second, viparinama dukkata. The dukkha that arises when things change, happily, unhappily. That is also very much understood. Then I would tell you, according to Buddha, the first two dukkha, dukkha dukkata, direct pain, viparinama dukkata, dukkha arising from change, being able to process the changes can be avoided when you can. Sometimes when you can avoid it. But the third one, you cannot change that much. That is called sankhara dukkhata. What is sankhara dukkhata? Inherent dukkha. Inherent means it is inherent. The first two are maybe things that we create more and more, in our life, depending on how we experience, how we react, respond to them. Sankhara dukkhata means the dukkha that we own because we carry panchakanda body. Because I carry rupakanda, vedana, sanya, sankhara, vijnana, because of that, I have a certain inherent dukkha that I have to go through. There's no way to avoid. You look at the Buddha and Arahants. Now, let's say Arahants, the normal people became Arahant, like Arahant Moggallana, Arahant Sariputta, Arahant Samadha Arahants, even the Buddha. Were they able to stop dukkha even they attained Nibbana? No. They could finish the dukkha dukkata and sankhara dukkhata, viparinama dukkhata, but they had to experience sankhara dukkhata even until the moment they pass away because they are carrying the panchakanda body. That's why in the suttas it is said the true nibbana arises when they pass away. We call it as anupadisesa nibbana. The first nibbana that you attain through meditation or cultivation is what you call sopadisesa nibbana or kilesa nibbana. But kanda nibbana is yet to come. You have to die. Otherwise, until that point, Buddha went through a whole vassa time without proper food. The horse trainers forgot about it, right? The Buddha had to eat yava, horse food. And Buddha had a back pain, migraine, Venerable Devadatta threw a stone. How many problems he went through? There was a time that he advised Sangha members, they did not listen to him, right? Sometimes physical sicknesses, right? Even the last moment he passed away through sickness, Lohita Pakkhandika. So it was painful for him, right? I mean, bodily painful. Through the thoughts, it's not painful. That means even the enlightened beings go through sankhara dukkhata. What about us? We have to go through them. That's why the Buddha said we need to understand them separately. And we also have to understand sankhara dukkhata is prevailing until you die as an enlightened being. Is it clear? Okay.
Thank you, Bhante. Clear.
So until somebody asks a question, the sutta says, if you practice them in the proper way, you will attain nibbana within 7 days. Are you ready for that? Anyways, I mean, don't go to superficial thoughts about it. I mean, the sutta says like that for some fast-tracking people, right? Minimum is 7 days. The maximum is 7 years. Right? No, don't worry about it. Yes. Any questions? Any more questions? Corina, you have a question?
Yeah, I was asking, is that related to karma? No, right?
What is relating to the karma?
Like the final sickness before he passed away, Buddha.
Well, there are different thoughts about it. Some versions are talking about karma. Some versions say that it was random. So that's what we have to understand, So it's very conditional.
So that means not everything is karma, right?
Oh, of course not. Then why we are doing good things? So we don't have to do good things. Let us wait for everything to happen. Are you waiting like that?
No, of
Would you
course.
like to wait everything to happen? Just say, if good things happen, I'm happy. If bad things happen, I'm not happy. No, Buddha said, karma is a very big factor. Yes, it is a very big factor. But there are things we can change in our life. Right? But karma is a very big thing, very much influential thing. Yes. Emma, you have a question? You were trying to ask something. Huh? Okay, any other questions for today about Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta? Because today will be the last day we are discussing this.
Bhante, may I ask one question?
Yeah, please.
I noticed that in the Bojjhanga, sati is the first factor. But in the Noble Eightfold Path, sati is the last factor, right? Samasati. Why is that?
No, not the last.
A second last.
That's a very good point. Yes. Thank you for the observation.
Bhante,
But there is a reason. There's a reason. The
please
reason
explain,
is
Bhante. Thank you,
you
Bhante.
will look at it as the seventh factor in the Noble Eightfold Path. But if you learn Mahachattārisaka Sutta, which I've been conducting for another center, you will see that all the Noble Path factors must be practiced with 3 other supporting factors, wherein which right mindfulness is a part of. You say why it is 7. No, it is not even 7. In order for other Noble Path factors to kick in, start work, right mindfulness is necessary. Let's say you want to practice right view, you need right view, right effort, right mindfulness. So we cannot say it is only 7. We have to wait until 7. No, right mindfulness operates in another format. But that is the main place as Satipaṭṭhāna. But it also has to be working to kick in the other supportive Noble Path factors. So I would say sati, right mindfulness, as a functioning, as a supportive factor, and as an individual practice. So these 2 practices have to be looked at differently.
So, sorry, Bhante. So in the Bojjhangas, sati is the supporting factor, is it?
No.
No,
We
no.
need to understand what is Bojjhanga. Bojjhanga is a practice where someone fulfill the qualities, Dhamma qualities. Okay, so when you look at Bojjhangas, 7 Bojjhangas, what you need to understand is that, you are working on the Noble Eightfold Path through right view. Right view has to be practiced to right view, right effort, right mindfulness, then right intention. It has to be practiced with right intention, right view, right effort, right mindfulness. So right mindfulness is affecting all these Noble Path factors. And how to understand both Bojjhangas? When you practice Noble Path factors well in this way, then what you are fulfilling is the Bojjhangas. Bojjhangas are your fulfilling part. You are on the other hand, you are fulfilling them, right? That's how you are making them happen.
Thank you, Bhante, for clarifying
Yes.
this. Thank you.
So I would say you are investing them, you are investing the Noble Eightfold Path in the Bojjhanga practice. Not that you practice them together, separately. Noble Eightfold Path is the only practice. By practicing Noble Eightfold Path, you are investing those same qualities in the what you call Bojjhangas. So then let me tell you, if the investment is not enough, still you have to be in samsara. That means if the Noble Eightfold Path practice is not properly practiced, Bojjhangas are not fulfilling enough. Until that level, you have to be in the samsara. All right, any more questions? We'll take one more question if you have, otherwise we're going to wrap this up at this point. All right. Aliana, do you know how many days we took to finish Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, including today? 15, 16?
16, Bhante.
16 days, almost more than 3 months. Huh?
Bhante, there's
Close
one more question in the chat.
Chat, okay. We are told to think of good thoughts during, I answered that earlier. How do we lighten our bad karma? Of course, don't do bad karma. That's the advice. But let's say we have done akusala karma, then what we need to do is to do more good karma, to do more kusala karma, to enhance our Noble Eightfold Path. So that is the best thing. But that advice should not be a trigger for someone to do bad karma and then to do good karma. Okay. All right. So if that's all, then we are going to end our Sutta discussion today. And today is the last day that we are discussing Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. And I think we discussed almost all the aspects of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta. Please read them again and again. You won't be able to catch them in one reading. Okay. If you have a question, you need to ask the question. You know why you have to ask the question? If you don't ask the question, next life you will be unwise. Who said that? The Buddha in the Chulakamma Vibhanga Sutta. So Buddha said that. So otherwise you carry the question to the next life. But the problem is, how do we know you're going to be human again in the next life? That is also a problem. Carrying the question to the next life is also a problem. So better to ask the questions and then clarify all that. So if you had any more questions, you can ask maybe in the group, maybe by sending a message to me. I'm very happy to answer those questions. So yeah. So may all thank you very much for interacting for this discussion. I think with our Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta discussion, we have covered so many areas with regard to right mindfulness. But don't ask me what is the next sutta. I will decide that slowly. Will be a very good one too. So may all the good karmas that we've been making throughout this practice of learning Satipaṭṭhānas be transferred to all the departed ones who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us give good karmas to departed ones. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. May Devanaga Mahindika receive all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they protect and bless all of us for good health, quality of life, prosperity, safety, and happiness. And may they finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sangpadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ittavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sangpadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ittavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sangpadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Akasattha cha bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanang Akasattha Chibummatta Devanaga Mahintika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhang Tudesanang Akasattha Chibummatta Devanaga Mahindika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhang Tumang Parang Chirang Rakhang Tutwan Sadati. Next is our Dhammavish. Our Dhammavish is to be surrounded with more Kalyana Mittas in this 2026. Those who have more Saddha, Sila, Chaga, Panya. Let us be inspired with them. Let us keep our association with them. At the same time, may we become Kalyana Mittas, noble friends, to as many sentient beings as we meet in this samsaric life till we attain Nibbana. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamu satang samagamu hu yava nibbana pattiya. Finally, may all the good karmas we've been making throughout the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta discussion. That was a very interesting and insightful practice. Now, I mean, while we're learning, reading, we need ample practice, lots of practice, the way how we see the opportunities. May all the good karmas we've been making throughout Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta series be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of it. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silis nichang vadha pachaino chattaro dhamma vadhanti ayuvanu sukhang balang ayurarogya sangpatti sagga sangpatti mevacha atu nibbana sangpatti iminati samichatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Right, so while wishing you a pleasant good night, and we have to be thankful to Ti-Ratana Vihara for hosting this series for everybody, for the sake of everyone's Dhamma knowledge, Dhamma awareness. Thanking everyone involved here. Wishing you a good night, pleasant good night till we see you again next Friday at the same time with the new sutta. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you,
Thank you, Bhante.
Good
Good
night,
night,
Bhante.
Bhante.
Good night,
everybody.
Bhante.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you,
you.
Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu,
Thank
sadhu.
you.
Thank you,
Sadhu,
and
sadhu.
good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bhante. Good night,
Yeah,
everyone.
good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Bhante. Good night. Good night.